as well as our director of photography, Jared Palick, and every single one of the Podfathers from season 2. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Glad to have you guys here. So I'm just going to start off with you, Grant. So Grant, you're kind of the fresh face on the crew here. What's it like being brought into the fold for the Podfather? Has any of the farmers begun hazing you or anything yet?
No, not really. It's a good group of
coming
guys.
later.
Yeah, that's coming. I have a feeling.
That's coming later.
I think Temple kicked some of your beans out of your field. I saw one of the promotional videos.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, I think that's pretty light. But
It's coming.
That's light comparatively. So Temple, how did you come to meet Grant? How did Grant kind of get involved with us? I know that you've kind of maybe been taking him under your wing a little bit.
So Grant, actually I met Grant on a phone call. Actually, his John Deere salesman. He actually knows me, and he does a little bit of selling on my side of the bridge as well. Grant, what are you, about three and a half hours, almost 4 hours away from me?
Yeah.
But this guy, this salesman does a lot of traveling. So he called me one day, and he just so happened to have Grant in his office, and Grant was asking a lot of questions about strip tilling. And I've been doing a lot of strip tilling with liquid fertilizer for a long time. We've switched our rig out now to anhydrous, but Grant had a lot of questions about it because he was interested in a soil warrior. So we went over and we talked for, man, Grant, what did we talk on that phone for? About an hour and a half that day, something like that. And that was the first that I've ever met Grant.
Then he
Anyway, so go ahead, Grant.
he blocked me in. I went to cattle show, my wife and kids, and pretty tight where we were. And he has we both have 450s, and this truck pulls in, blocks me in. Man, I'm leaving tomorrow. I got to know who this guy is. So if I got to leave, I can get the heck out of here. Started talking to him and asked him what his name was, Temple. And I said, Rhodes? He said, yeah. Who are you? We hit it off there.
Yeah, so we talked on the phone. Actually, it was such a quick phone conversation with his salesman that was a smooth talker, real quick at the tongue. He ran over Grant's name so quick when he was trying to introduce me on the phone. I didn't even catch Grant's name. And then when we went to this cow show, and then I basically blocked Grant in, and he basically asked me, like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Temple. And then that's how it all started. And then we started talking from there, and then it kind of just led on and on and on from there. And then I introduced Seth and the crew to Grant, and it all kind of works out.
No, it's been amazing, Grant. Your location out in West Virginia is something that we haven't had in any of the shows. All the mountains and just beautiful land. It comes with some challenges. You and Temple talk about it here in the first episode. Some of the major difficulties you got to deal with there. So we're excited to see that. We also got Corey Atlee, who's in both CornWarriors and the Podfather. What are some of the differences you can tell us about the shows, about the farmers? Kind of what are the similarities and differences between the two shows that you've been working with, Corey?
Similarities. Everybody is competitive. I mean, we all want to do good. I would say the difference is with the Podfather group, we're very close with each other. We communicate well, we talk well, we're always willing to help each other. So I'm not saying that we don't do that on the CornWarrior side. Just with the Podfather side, it's just a whole different level. Something that I really haven't seen before. It's just really nice, and I'm glad to call all these guys a good friend. They're there when you need them, talk to about different things, whether it's farming or not. So it's just been a really fun show.
No, that's awesome. I definitely feel the camaraderie in settings like this, and in group chats, and the way that y'all are communicating with each other via visiting. I mean, Matt, you went out and visited Corey last year, real early in the kind of pre-plant season. Is that something that you do often? I know it's something that you talk about during the show is the team-based aspect. And, you and Perry both being from Arkansas, do you see that as an asset or is that kind of more of a competition thing? Can you speak on that for us?
Oh, it's definitely an asset. I mean, I hope before it's over with that I get to visit each Podfather's farm, and some of them are a long way away, but, Perry and I know each other, been knowing each other for a long time, but getting to know these other guys, we've kind of got a little brotherhood going. And, it's just pretty cool to have guys from all different regions of the United States. And even though a lot of the things we do are different, a lot of things we do are the same. But the things that are different are cool to get to know because, you can at least try to implement that on your farm and kind of see what goes on. So, my goal is to eventually, visit every farm of each one of us.
Yeah, and we'd love to be there when you do, for sure. Anyone watching, feel free to leave any questions or comments, and we'd be happy to ask the farmers any questions that you might have as well. I also kind of wanted to follow up a little bit. So I think, we have like in the thumbnail of this episode, this burnt tractor. I don't want to talk about it too much because you do a good job explaining it in the moment, but can you kind of like touch on safety a little bit, maybe give a little bit of background on what's going on, maybe how to avoid accidents like that, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's just from fatigue. The operator that was on the tractor, just a bunch of long days. And, Corey and I have talked about this a lot. You've got to keep your mental side going. And sometimes when you're working 16 to 20 hours a day, that starts going away. And it was just a mistake made by just, basically starting to lose a little bit of attention to what you're doing, because you are so tired. So, that's something that kind of opened my eyes because that could have been a really bad deal that ended up being just a tractor burn. And I know that's a big deal in itself, but a tractor burn versus a life being saved, it could have went a lot different. And, that's pretty big to me. We've had one farm accident where there was a life lost and, it's just something that I've become to pay more attention to is just, being more aware of your surroundings and making sure that you're safety first and farming second. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that's a real deal.
No, absolutely. It's a dangerous game for sure. So Perry, you use a lot of farmers and workers with the H2A program. How did you get involved with them? I mean, that's one of the ways that we can kind of curb fatigue a little bit is having a lot of people to help out in need. I know that you operate a lot of land to begin with, but how did you get involved with them? Has that been a major asset? Do guys return every season? What's your relationship with them like?
Yeah, so I think it's my 8th year using the H2A labor. We use all South African guys. I mean, they're like family. They truly are. I mean, I've had guys been here since day one, actually, and I've got several that have been here since the 2nd year I started this. So, yeah, it's a huge asset. We work together wonderfully. I mean, we have no local labor, so I couldn't do it without them. And I think Matt was talking about the safety aspect of it and rest and operator fatigue. Having a full staff available does decrease the possibility of having any issues. Been pretty fortunate. We got the flying service. We've been lucky there. We've had some accidents, but no loss of life. On the farm, 12,000 acres, and I've been doing this 30-something years. I've had 2 guys pass away on the job, but they were from natural causes. So yeah, I mean, it's a big deal, and the H2A program, I could not do without it, without these guys.
No, that's amazing. Corey, have you had any problems with hiring workers or labor shortage or anything like that?
All the time. No, it's just we've been spoiled. We went for 10 to 15 years with the same crew for a long time. And then we lost a lot of good help. They moved on to other job with benefits and with insurance. And we've got a good crew now, but we've got a young crew. And we just have a really green crew. For a lot of them, this was their first full season, first full harvest. They stuck it out. They did a great job. Everybody's still here. Everybody's happy. We didn't yell at each other too much, but I mean it's been great. The thing that helps is the main core of the operation, being Dad and Junior and me. Training. We got to make sure that we do a good job when we train, and then just looking for good help. I'm not gonna lie. Right now, it's hard to find people that want to work. It's just the generations that are coming up. They don't like the hours that farmers are going to put in, and it's hard. It's hard to find good help, and it's more of a family aspect. So you want to find somebody that's willing to have the skin in the game and treat it like it's their own, and that's what's really hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, Matt Miles, one thing I like that he's done, I like the phrase or what you've coined is farmily, and that kind of explains it pretty well.
Yeah, that's a big deal to me. And like Perry was saying about the H2A workers, I've got some guys here on H2A that's been here over 20 years. And we started with a family of H2A workers, and we've kept that. Some of the guys now don't come, but they send their sons. So we've got nephews and brothers in our operation, plus our guys that are here from America. And I mean, it's definitely, I mean, I treat them, they treat me just like we're all brothers, and that makes the harmony really work well.
Absolutely. I think that family piece is wicked important, and that's something that I see in your operation, Matt, and it's something I see very clearly in yours, Temple, too, is we're actually working on an episode from May when we were out there and talking with your son Temple and Alexander, and Alexander pops on screen. I can tell you that much. He's got a lot of pride in his work. Was that kind of Was that kind of always how that was? Was he more wanting to get involved, or you wanted to get him involved, type of thing?
I mean, this is just how things are in our family. I rely mostly on family to help out and family friends. So all of our kids started up at a very, very young age running equipment. And what people don't realize is children have the ability to do so much more than what people ask them to do, and they end up not having that responsibility. So Dad always believed to get us out there early, give us a bunch of responsibility, and get us to work. So it teaches work ethic. So I did the same thing with all of my children, Alexander, Little Temple, all the rest of the kids, my nephews, um, my sister's children, um, all of us kind of, we have like a huge family blend, and we all really work really well together. And what happens with us is like my mother and my wife always say, if you're going to ask these people to put in long hours, you got to keep food in their stomachs. Don't ever have them reaching for their keys out of their pocket to go get in the pickup to go somewhere, so to get something to eat. So my mother always makes sure that she packs everybody's lunches. She's 83 years old. She still packs everybody's lunches. Yes, my mommy packs my lunch when we're in the field. So all y'all can make fun of me all y'all want. Don't be a hater.
Hey, that's awesome.
And we've tried to, my wife has tried to, like, and I went to Mom. I said, Mom, you don't have to do this anymore. And she actually got really upset with us. And she was like, I enjoy it. Don't take that away from me. Leave me alone. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So, so then I guess, I don't know, probably 10 years ago or so, my wife started taking over the dinners in the field. So every night when we're in the field, my wife brings a full home cooked meal out to the field, even though she has a full-time job working in a pharmaceutical company. But it's also her time that she gets to come out there and see the kids, because the minute the kids get off the school bus or whatever, they all beeline to come to the field because they all want to do it. They all enjoy it. They absolutely love it. So I guess our family thing, I rely heavily on them. Most of my and
Well,
We lost Temple. I think to kind of pivot a little bit, Temple, did you want to wrap up what you were saying?
my phone's going nuts here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, my phone kind of went kind of crazy. Just to wrap up, basically, in our family, it I rely heavily on my family to help us make everything work. We have some full-time hired guys that help us in the field as well. But where we struggle is men or women with a CDL driver's license that can help with the trucking, and it's gotten so bad on us that we are hiring out a lot of our trucking now because we just can't find the labor force anymore. So it's made it real tough. And I guess everybody has their struggles. That's our hardest struggle here.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. Grant, you're actually, to my knowledge, you're a first generation farmer. So a lot of these guys are, fifth, sixth, seventh generation farmers. So they kind of got it in their blood. So that might be an advantage. But at the same time, Grant, I think as a first generation farmer, you might not have maybe someone looking over your shoulder as much, or maybe there isn't as big of a risk of losing the farm or whatnot. Do you kind of see that as an advantage or a disadvantage?
Oh, you could still lose it, but I guess I am a confirmed first generation farmer. I have a good group of guys. My agronomist and
Yeah. So I'm going to check.
what's that? Can you hear me?
I said, I'm going to have to validate that confirmed.
Okay. All right. Good. I have a good group of guys, and my agronomist Chad, he's one of the best, and he's really helped Temple and I and him talk a lot, and I think the group of guys here on the show really helped me out a lot, and they have the experience, so if I have questions, they help me out.
I think the cool thing with Grant is, um, Alex, when I went down there to talk with Grant and his family, and got to see that whole thing, what's really cool is that I'm like, I think I'm eighth generation or something. My children are ninth, and we're so tradition bound and so hung up on what my father did, and my boys are learning what I'm doing, and they're only going to change but so much. But Grant thinks so far outside of the box, where in the farming industry, we're all tradition bound, but he thinks way outside the box because he doesn't have somebody that was like, nope, that's the wrong way. Nope,
Mhm.
that's the wrong way. And Grant doesn't think like that. He thinks very differently than the average farmer does, if that makes any sense.
No, that does make a lot of sense. Corey, do you have anything to add there? Because I know that you have a very close relationship with your dad and how he operates things. Is that kind of tough to get out from under the thumb of?
Absolutely. And I feel like I had it easier than most because my dad was very progressive already. So, but even with ideas that I had, it was a prove it attitude. I had to prove that it could not fail before he would listen. But you know, he was very successful within his ways. So, the ideas that I brought to the table when I started this were a lot different than what we did. And I don't blame him. You want to be conservative first and make sure it works. So I definitely had to prove it a lot that it wasn't going to fail. It just couldn't be successful, but it wasn't going to fail. So I'm sure by the time he gets old enough, he's going to be pushing me too, and he's going to be saying that I'm nothing but an old timer.
Yeah, and I know a lot of y'all have articulated throughout the season that there really is no such thing as failure. There's like, you know, learning what not to do at the same time. Every single time that you do fail, you're at least learning in the process, which I think is why y'all are, you know, the best at what you do. I do want to switch gears a little bit and holler at Jared, our director of photography, to ask you, buddy,
Jared,
what has been, you know, what have been some of your favorite moments throughout the season? Anything memorable jump out for you? Was it, you know, difficult to shoot at some places versus other ones?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question, Alex, because, you know, as, you know, cinematographers and videographers, you know, you're used to usually filming in a studio or just filming in an office. And as we film these farmers, they're on their knees in the dirt. And so when we're filming with our cameras, we got to do the same thing. We got to get on our knees in the dirt. And so we're absolutely pushing kind of our jobs to the limit, and they push us and don't allow us to, you know, take the easy route out. We're climbing grain bins. You know, I've seen you, Alex, climbing up to the top of huge grain bins to put GoPros out, things like that. So it's really exciting. And you know, being from Wisconsin, I grew up around farms and farmers, but never knew anything about agronomy. And just getting to spend even just you know, a day at these farmers farms, it's just incredible the amount of knowledge that they have. And me, as you know, an everyday Joe, I just feel like I get a wealth of knowledge getting to spend these hours with the top farmers in the nation. And so I'm just grateful every time we get to spend time filming them. And I think the people that are watching the show get to see, you know, the excitement that exists as we're filming too, because it really comes out on screen. We're getting to view it in real time, just the way that the viewers are going to watch it on TV. So it really is a blast getting to film it.
No, absolutely. It really is a treat to be around these guys who are the experts in their field and just soak up their knowledge. The stuff that I've learned in the last, you know, year, I never would have thought I would have been involved with, and I'm very happy to be, because you know, these farmers are just amazing. And as you kind of mentioned, Jared, you know, I don't have an agronomy background. You don't. Our executive producer Seth doesn't. So Seth came up, the executive producer of the show, Seth Wood, came up with the best idea yet, which was bringing in someone as charismatic as Nate Enan with an agronomy background. Nate, what is kind of like your skill set? What have you been able to bring to the table as a swagronomist and sales leader for the show?
Well, a lot of it is too, and the soy agronomy thing is play. You know, I didn't go to school. I kind of learned like Temple. The guys were talking. I started at an early age on the farm and experience there. But no, it's just interesting for me. The takeout is being from the farm culture and understand that my whole life. Part of like what we see traveling all the time that's interesting is the cultural hubs. You know, farm culture is still farm culture everywhere you go, but it's interesting where the hubs are. Places we go to eat, stuff like that. Just how people interact is the same, but it's at a different place. You know, I thought that was interesting. But coming into it, it's interesting to go from Maryland to Southern Arkansas and see a lot of the practices are similar. You know, I don't know, but yet different, if that makes sense, how they handle the different situations. And you know, I've been from South Dakota most of my life and spent some time in Illinois. It's just interesting to see the differences all across the country, but some of the stuff being very, very similar. And I do really like the culture behind the farming, and I appreciate that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's amazing. Some of the food that we eat is awesome. The geography is pretty different as well, and the fact that, you know, these farmers let us into their homes and their lives is really truly remarkable. And Matt, you put it really well in the corn show, that the skill set that a farmer has is so versatile with the business side of things, the agronomy, the biology, the chemistry, the multitasking. You said that you could put a farmer in as a CEO of any company and they'd probably be able to succeed. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Because that was something that resonated with me during the season.
Well, I mean, like when you're when you go to work, you come out of college, or if not college or whatever, and you go to work in a position, you learn one thing, and you may be good at that one thing, but a farmer has so many hats on every day. I mean, we do so many different aspects of the job that by the time we're through with 1 year of production, you've got qualities that go from the guy that sweeps the floors all the way to the CEO. So, it gives you experience in so many different areas that if I was going to hire a CEO for a big major company, I'd want it to be a farmer, because he's got so many balls in the air and so many hats that he wears every day that, he's got experience in everything. That's just kind of my take on it.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree, honestly. And Corey, I remember he was talking with you that day, and y'all spoke on kind of the mental health aspect of things. We were using that to kind of pivot into, these farmers are so good at multitasking because they're dealing with so many things, but that, they say pressure either makes diamonds or breaks pipes. Do you think that, mental health is something that we need to talk about more in the farming community? I've done some research that says that, farmers are 3 times more likely than any other occupation to say commit suicide. Do you think that's something we need to highlight a little more?
I actually think it's a very important part of our what we do, because I think it's overlooked a lot, because as farmers, we're the tough guy that, we have to shrug off all these things that are, that other people deal with, and we're dealing with the same thing. We're just not probably as public about what we're dealing with and what we're dealing with. So yes, I think that's a big aspect in the agriculture industry that we kind of, I'm not going to say we do. I mean, we definitely overlook it, because we've got to be the tough guy that wears all the hats that that don't happen to us. But I mean, in all honesty, I think it's okay to say it ain't okay. And I know ain't's not a really good English word, but that's just my opinion. And Corey, you may have, I think Corey and I have talked about this a lot, and it's a big deal that we really just put on the back burner and kind of just deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's important that at some point farmers have to swallow their pride and look for help. We're a prideful, job. We have faith and pride in what we do. If we didn't, we would not farm. It's what makes us who we are. And I don't think people realize that do not farm, sitting at home right now, how much day-to-day pressure we're constantly going through, and things that we cannot control. We can try to do everything we can to control the controllables, and at the end of the day, we can lose it all. And to know that and be okay with that, it will weigh on you, after time. And people, they are starting to talk about it more. I feel like it needs to be brought to light to talk about, to make people feel okay to open up about it. Farmers are not known for sharing emotions. We're not, we're kind of that closed off, generation. We don't like talking about feelings. And we're very prideful. So we don't want to tell somebody else that, hey man, we're feeling pretty down and out right now. We're just going to try to let it go. So I'm glad to see that more people are talking about it. If anybody's out there watching and they need somebody to talk to, I will definitely pick up my phone. You just need to vent, whatever. Matt, same way, I'm sure. Just reach out to somebody. We've all been there. I've been at the lowest of the lows, and I've been at the highest of the highs. I just try to find somewhere in the middle.
No, that's good advice, and that's something again that I've seen y'all do masterfully with each other is the camaraderie, is the teamwork, on camera and every now and then there is some obvious light, ribbing and banter and chiding and making fun of people a little bit. But at the end of the day, every single one of you guys knows that you have each other's backs at the end of the day, which is really cool to kind of watch and be a part of. So I think we're going to get into the episode. Anyone have any closing remarks they want to get in before we go live with this season premiere?
I just appreciate everybody that's here, this group. And, I get emotional sometimes on that, but this group helps me helps me through the year. So it's a big deal to me to be a part of this group. I feel very fortunate to be there, and I'm glad I have all these friends.
I agree with Matt with all of this. What we don't realize is which I realize, I think all of us realize it, but what the audience doesn't realize is we have helped each other make more money, with the camaraderie that we have, with everything that we've done, on the show, sharing ideas, the group that I feel like, Swood Media Company, what the Podfather has put together, honestly, like, I don't like I feel like I'm not saying it's an untouchable group, the Godfather thing, but like it really is. I mean, this group of men, with the women behind them is pretty powerful. And touche to you guys, on the production side, what you guys also don't realize is you make us feel like we're part of your family, and we've made you feel like you're a part of ours. We've invited you into our homes, and it's been absolutely incredible for all of us, and everybody would agree to that.
I totally agree. I really appreciate having y'all. Anyone else got anything?
If I could say one thing, if you guys get a chance, make sure you're watching the episodes. You get to see this first one here in a few seconds, but the message is clear. It's get a group around you that can help you, whether it be through mental health, someone to talk to, have good friends. We've reiterated there, but also from a producer standpoint, bouncing stuff off each other. And if anything, you can see in this group where there's not a cloak of secrecy. Everybody works together. And like, I forget, I think it was Temple. They helped each other on their ROI, bouncing stuff off each other. And I think that's amazing. And you'll see it, I think, throughout the whole season.
Yep. And then I guess in closing, I just want to thank, Seth, Jared, Alex, Nate. I mean, you guys do a great job. I cannot get over how hard you guys work just for a 5 to 10 second clip that's going to be on this show. It just blows my mind, the amount of effort you guys put into this, and to give a platform. Me as an audience watcher, my biggest struggle has been beans, and I know I can't be the only farmer out there. A lot of people can talk about corn with you and have a lot of knowledge, but when it comes to beans, people get quiet pretty quickly. So I really hope the audience at home watches this and shares with a friend, because the amount of knowledge that we share, this show is by far a very open show. We're a very open book with each other. So, I just want to say thank you to everybody on the show, to the audience. Thank you for watching, but please share it. Get more people involved. And I just want to say thank you to the sponsors too. I mean, if it wasn't for you guys, there wouldn't be a show. And then thank you for the great products. I mean, you guys are helping us, and therefore we want to help other farmers. So thank you to everybody.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank y'all, and look forward to this season.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys. I mean, y'all are amazing farmers, and even better human beings. Big shout out to our fans and our sponsors. So feel free to check us out at thepodfathertv.com, like and subscribe to us on Facebook, and we'll get geared up for the season premiere. I really appreciate you guys joining us this early. Thanks again to all those that have been watching. We'll go right into the season premiere right after this, so don't go anywhere. And good luck with the season, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
I told you could fix it. Oh, buddy. All this work. All that for nothing. Come back, if you don't get your ditcher and do this little bit, it's just one field in those 248 rows, and then we'll finish up at Tiller.
I've got a gut feeling this is going to be a good year. The farmer is the eternal optimist.
We farm together as a family. If we all put our heads together, I don't know what we couldn't achieve.
Hopefully we hit 90 bushel. I think we could do it. Just have healthy plants and a good return on investment.
One of the worst things about farming is making a decision on planting depth. A quarter of an inch on your depth, sometimes you won't get a stand.
As you can see, my pinky ring's empty, so obviously I didn't win. With this class of guys that's in Podfathers, I mean, anyone could win.
Hey, Matt, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Well, that
My
showed me,
wife
so it
was
wouldn't
sending
work.
me, I guess she must be watching
So we're
Facebook
thinking
Live or
electrical, because
something.
yesterday
She
on this
just
seed
sent me a
cart,
text
the same
message.
thing
Let me
happened.
read
It
what
was
she
electrical.
said.
So we spent an
I want to
hour
harvest cotton and
tracing down
peanuts.
wires,
Will
cutting
Matt
wires,
let me
moving
come
solenoids
visit?
from one to the other.
It's kind
And it was
of weird response
set
for my
screw
wife
in
to
the
send to
shaft
you.
that runs the
Or to
motor
send to
the
me to
whole
ask
time.
you.
A lot of times
You're
you
right.
work really hard
You're
on
gonna
something
die
for
when
a
you
long
live-
time and it not be the right thing. We don't have about a 5-gallon bucket left. Can we put it in? We can put them in there, can't we? There's about 2 bags left in this cart. As soon as David Earl plants down where he can get those in it, I'm gonna send Daniel up there, and you'll have to go in there in the warehouse and find them. They're in the middle bay. There's some AgriGold 4820s in black boxes. Get a couple of those out where when he gets there, we can dump 2 boxes in the front hopper. I've got Podfather team here, so Lane and I are gonna be a little bit tied up, but I wanna continue to keep everything going. We planted 1,000 acres yesterday. Between the rice, the corn, and the cotton, we planted 1,000 acres.
How many acres of beans do you have left?
There's 4,200, and we've planted 1,800. So what does that leave? 2,400, I guess. You asked me last year if I was gonna change anything. I said I was gonna plant my corn later and my beans earlier. Yeah, I think it's gonna pay us to plant early because of the inversions in the market. So we're still trying to get everything in as early as we can. We can go look at the burnt tractor today if you want to too. And we can do a little section maybe on safety. All right, so what I did, I sent Chris on to Boydell so that he could get that command out before the wind gets too high there at the monument. So I told him to go do that. When he got through, finished with that, then come back, get on the ditcher. He's gonna take his ditcher and come over here and do these few fields and go to Tiller and catch that up. If we don't, we're gonna forget about it. Right. That's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have him follow you down there, let you plant 2 or 3 rounds, pump the rest of it in you. Then we'll be able to take this cart and go get the other seed. We gotta get the 4820s, and I need to figure out how much. That's the same tractor, Seth, that me and you were on earlier. We had a bad weekend, but we also had a miracle at the same time, to be honest with you. As you can see behind me, this tractor, $350,000 tractor, or it was. This weekend, the operator came between this big country pole that's behind us and this water hydrant. And as you see over there, there was a telephone pole, and he caught the guide wire of the telephone pole. So when he caught the guide wire of the telephone pole broke, put the hot wires on the right-hand side of the tractor on the tires. They said it was 16,000 volts coming that was laying on that tractor. He had no choice but to try to bail off. It was that or be in that tractor. So he jumps off the tractor, gets a small shock, small tingling feeling. Nothing major, was 100% fine. So that's the miracle of the story. We lost a really nice tractor, but we saved a really good man. So we get in such a hurry
trying to get things done in a timely manner that sometimes we overlook safety. So I've never had a piece of equipment burn in my life. Of course, we've got good Farm Bureau insurance, so that'll kick in, but it's not about that. It's not about the value of this tractor, but it's more about the value of life. You know, and everybody that works here is like family to me, so it hit us pretty hard just thinking of what could have happened. So good Lord took care of him when he jumped off. We are very thankful he's safe, and just slow down is all I can tell you, and take the extra time it takes to be safe. Hope this never happens to you, and hope it never happens to us again.
We want the bottom canopy to be healthy with a good fungicide. We use Revitec on it.
But on our farm, we got to average a 6 bushel better with the Revitec fungicide than any other fungicide.
Doing a lot of different trials, and one of them is Concept Agritech. We're doing a in-furrow starter trial. The thing I'm the most excited to try is a bunch of bugs. It's a biological. We're excited to see how they work out.
Good morning. It's a nice day today. It'd be dry enough to plant tomorrow, but unfortunately it's supposed to rain tonight. So that's the way it is. We're ready. We got all our equipment out. Everything worked pretty good, making the final adjustments. So when it does dry out, we can get back in the field and we won't look back. A lot of our fertility products come in and soil amendments, like all this Monty stuff. We've got a truckload of boron, we got a truckload of zinc, we got our secret stuff. Our first truckload of Monty's product came in for the year. Calcium Plus, which is their liquid carbon plus a little bit of calcium. We got some Midnight on there, which is a 1084 plus iron, zinc, and sulfur, which I love that combination. And then Surge, which is our fulvic acid we use for mainly foliar applications. So excited about that coming in. You gonna get your doors? A lot of corn planting going on around here, and it doesn't matter where you look. If there's a Podfather or a CornWarrior involved, AgriGold there as well. So we've been planting AgriGold corn seed for years, and it is the highest quality seed that I plant. Consistent seed size and goes through the planter just like it's supposed to. Give us a good picket fence stand. Today, it's actually wet, so we thought we'd take some time to sit down with my crop consultant, Joey Branch with Pro Ag Services, as well as our BASF rep, Jimmy Pongetti. And glad to have him here as well as Joey, and we're gonna talk about soybean strategy, production strategy, or part of it at least. Anytime we get a chance to go across the field early, especially, we need a residual herbicide. It's early in the year. We'll talk about burn down real quick, which is typically paraquat or glyphosate. And along with that same shot, we'll put in a little, typically paraquat behind the planter. It's very inexpensive. Put it in there, start clean.
I think you're exactly right. You do everything you can up front to start clean. That's the best chance you've got. That's the best opportunity you got to keep that field clean.
You know, getting that early application done and just making sure we stay ahead of the game, because once we get behind the weed, it's very tough to catch up.
So yeah, that'll go a long way, and that'll actually move us all the way into fungicide. I think I'm on record saying I used Revitec on every acre last year, and I did, and I intend on using it again this year.
Revitec's a brand new chemistry introduced about 2 years ago, or a brand new product. It's got 3 modes of action. You got great preventative as well as curative action, plus you got the plant health benefits.
All right, so I'm sitting back up now. Brittany's in the room, I'm wide open. So here in about 15 minutes, we put in a crop, taking it all the way to harvest with Joey's expertise, Jimmy's expertise, and BASF products. It's a great combination, and looking forward to seeing y'all in a few days. And $14 beans makes this a lot easier. So last September I bought belted Galloways. These are belted Galloways. They're heritage breed. They're from Scotland. And by the next Monday I had 13. Chloe had a baby. This is the bull Tiger. And they're really tame. You can do whatever you want to with them. I hadn't tried to ride them, but they're pretty tame. They love treats. Let me grab a handful of treats. Most cattle wouldn't let you do that. So these are all the yearling heifers. All right. Let's go see the other ones real quick before the rain.
Ran the Copperhead Pearl Cruiser this year. Been very good, very happy with it. A lot more aggressive on the closing. Just a simple addition to the planter for better closing.
We got some Monty's product. We use it in a lot of other crops. It's a changer.
We focus on things that complement soil biology, things that complement soil health.
It just keeps giving back.
What's going on, Grant?
What's going on?
How are you? Glad to be here.
Chad.
Chad, how are you? So I guess welcome to season 2 of the Podfathers, right, guys? Maybe I won't come in second this year.
I don't think you will.
Maybe I can drag you down with me.
Yeah.
So what are we going to look at today? We're going to go look at some fields?
We are. Good. Mud.
Is it muddy here?
Very.
Had a lot of rain. So your family's from here. You kind of started here. You ended up back here.
Yeah.
Then you got into doing some NCGA trials, and you won West Virginia?
Yeah, we won West Virginia and we won Maryland last year, irrigated and non-irrigated.
Like, what kind of challenge do you face? Do you feel like you are having trouble getting to a yield on your soybeans?
So the biggest thing I think we have is sunlight with the mountains. It's been a while since we've had a drought. Seems like, I put 8 pivots in. Ever since we put them in, it seems like we've gotten so much rain that we don't need them.
Well, when you make your most amount of money with irrigation is when you don't turn it on.
Yep. Yeah, another biggest battle we have is getting our equipment across to the other side. You got to take logging roads to get around. It can be challenging.
So you run equipment down some of these logging roads that come through the mountains?
Yep.
I'm afraid to go down a small hill at home. Like, that's crazy to me.
Well, let's go hit the fields and see what we got down there, see if the ground's any good.
Okay. What is your planning date that you're looking for? Do you have this is when I want, it's go time?
I'm basing it more off of a 10-day forecast, so
right.
I have guys that have already planted corn and beans.
When the 10-day, it's in the 40s and in the evening.
What
does your next 10 days look like?
It's the cold rain that concerns me more than anything. If we had 45-degree soil temperatures out there and the 10-day we're warming up to 60 degrees, I wouldn't be afraid to cut it loose.
With the weather that we've had, it's been so wet, and like I said, the 10-day, it looks pretty chilly at night, so we're concerned about that up in the mountains.
And when you told me what time of morning it is when sun actually sets on these fields, it's like...
It's about 11 o'clock. For the
yeah,
dew.
I mean, that's crazy.
Let's go check the bean field out and the corn field that we won last year at the state of Maryland. So this is the field we won last year, the corn contest. I got 296, and this field's in Allegheny County, Maryland.
This was a whole bunch of different hay fields that we had here. And there was a block of pine trees the power plant had planted, just like those over there. We took all them out, made it one big field. Our pump station is up there.
So you pump out right across that, right over there out of the river?
Right out of the river.
Right straight here?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it's kind of wet, that inch of rain.
But you know what, an inch of rain here, this is a lot better shape than my ground is. I get an inch of rain on mine, you wouldn't even walk. You couldn't walk out.
That's how we were before the tile drainage. I mean,
so the tiles made that big of a difference for you guys, that it's just keeping it off here.
Yeah.
This is really dried out for having the rain it's had on it.
Yeah, I can't believe that you've had, you know, you've had an inch of rain and you can still do this. You can't do this with my dirt. My dirt would be like, you'd be playing with mud. I mean, it's wet, but it's really dried out a lot. So what exactly are you, like, what's your plan? You gonna hit it with a field cultivator and then you're gonna plant this, or?
No, we're gonna run the soil ware over it.
Oh, okay.
And wait a week or two and come back through. That's real soil right there.
Is that the real stuff?
Yep. Let's head back to the shop and...
You got me, show me all your tools?
Yeah, my tools.
Okay, let's go see them.
Yeah, it's tight to get in this cab because I got to keep that boom cradle over there in the transport mode because I can't get across the bridge if it's out.
Because it's tight.
So tight.
I mean, does the combine get through there okay?
You got to go over the mountain.
So you're coming down the side of the mountain with the combine because you can't get across the bridge?
Or go through the river.
Or drive through the river. How do you know how deep it is in the river? You got to walk it first?
When you go across the bridge, we got an island out there.
Hard part is finding the rocks, and when you hit a rock.
Yeah.
Y'all are fighting some serious challenges around here. Wild and wonderful, baby. Wild and wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
We want the bottom canopy to be healthy with a good fungicide. We use Revitec on it.
But on our farm, we got to average a 6 bushel better with the Revitec fungicide than any other fungicide.
Here at Advanced Yield, we're not only just a consulting company, we are now offering a full lineup of select crop inputs. There's no middleman, for the farmer, by a farmer. Unleash your crop's potential. Visit online or give me a call today.
Ran the Copperhead Furrow Cruiser this year. Been very good, very happy with it. A lot more aggressive on the closing. Just a simple addition to the planter for better closing.
Welcome to season 2 of Podfathers. As you can see, my pinky ring's empty, so obviously I didn't win. It's April 19th. We've been hard at it since April 15th on beans. We got about 4,000 acres of beans this year putting out. So last year at this time, we only had 350 acres of beans out. And we was shut down on beans till the end of very last day of May, first week of June. So having all the beans in the ground between April 15th and April 20th this year should be a great advantage for us. That's more of our typical time frame, but in the past 3 years, we haven't had a typical time frame. You know, we're still too early. Mother Nature could wipe us out at any given moment. You know, with snow coming in Tuesday night, that could really play an effect to it. We're trying to do everything that I can to control the controllables to where we don't have to fight it as bad, so we're trying to play into Mother Nature's hands here. Hopefully for the bean side of things, it will work out better than it did last year. I can't stress enough how important it is to get the beans out early. That's going to be a huge advantage to us. Hopefully we get more rain than last year. Contest side of things, I got one of the fields at my house I was intercropping last year. We did something a little different on that this year. Maybe you guys will be able to get a chance to see that in another episode. Trying something new, something different. Hopefully it works out. We're running 4 gallons of water in furrow with some Exalt, and then Bella, and then New Tech SIF from Terramax. That's a liquid inoculant. Going this cold into the soil, we've seen a great benefit from that. We try not to get too cute for it, trying to get as much activity as we can within the soil jump started. And especially when it's cold like this, it needs all the help that it can get. You always start out, so right now we're on plan A. Things are still not perfect, but things are good. Once we get the crop up and out of the ground, we get started. Now we're gonna start thinking about weed control. What are we gonna do for food-wise for them, feeding them on, foliar feeding and different things like that. But the first thing is we gotta get them up out of the ground and get a good stand. So this year we're gonna wait for all the beans to be emerged, come back in with a post-emergent, and that's where we're gonna have all of our residuals. And for our weed control then, we're gonna come back in with the Zidua. But when you're planting early or this cold, we wanna come with a post for the weed control. We don't wanna hurt the germ at all. We want everything to come up, assess the situation, get the ground temperatures warmer, get the weeds going, and then we'll come in and knock them out and kill them. So we're really concentrated on trying to break down the fodder from last year's crop to release the nutrients for this year's crop. So we gotta make sure that we're doing a really good job of burying it, breaking it down, and getting it as small as pieces that we can. So I'm in one of the planters, a junior, Doug McCauley. He's in the other planter. We're actually getting ready to join up with him right now. We're gonna join his work. So we make sure everything looks good there. So now we're fully ready to go.
Corey's got the last pass in the field. We're leaving here. We're just gonna cross this ravine. There's 27 acres in this field. Instead of cutting him off and both of us being at the wrong end, we'll switch fields and do this one. Well, my role on the farm is I'm a farm manager. I've been with Corey's dad for 33 years. I've known Corey since he's 2 years old. So I'm just kind of here, you know, I do the planting, the spraying, the drive combine in the fall, do it all.
Goals this year is definitely to do better. You know, with this class of guys that's in Podfathers, I mean, anyone could win. You know, that's my goal. Getting the yields that they're getting is going to take perfection, you know. So if I can be in that 125 to 150 bushel range, I'll be tickled to death. You know, we got a great crew from everybody that's working with us. It's not just one person. We all take pride into it, especially with the competition that we're facing. From Temple to Matt to Perry, I mean, all these guys, they're class A growers on every crop. So I got my work cut out for me trying to beat these guys. I just want to be respectable and be in the mix. The soil is the best that we've had in a long, long time. Planting conditions are perfect.
With the rain coming, you don't know what the right decision is.
What do we do best? We plant soybeans.